who here thinks about cloud when they think about BC&DR? Anybody? This, for us, has been probably one of the most successful catalysts to cloud migration than almost anything else we're selling other than Firefly, because of how complementary it is to the cloud. And why is that? So, I mean, you think about what do we like about the cloud? Economies of scale, you know, the fact that it is hyperscale, the fact that you can deliver on-demand workloads, you know, the value derived by the fact that it's hyperscale as well, independently, huge amounts of storage. So Azure Backup is a no-brainer. Azure Backup is incredibly complementary to all the things we do in data center. Yes, you can run Azure Backup purely over the internet, but only for files and folders. You get the real value out of Azure Backup when you establish either an Azure Backup server or DPM server as your front, as your local target to the hosts that you're working with. It allows you to eliminate tapes. Why have tape drives when you can leverage the cloud for 99 years of retention? If you have large volumes of data that you need to seed, again, very complementary with our Firefly offering, the fact that we can dial up the bandwidth for a day, a week, whatever's necessary, and then dial it back to whatever's required to deal with the delta, the change, within change windows or throttled throughout the day. And going back to high touch, so the ability to deliver client-driven restores or self-service, again, this is something that we're seeing. Now, our customers want to be more empowered. If they trust the technology that we put in front of them, obviously with the appropriate rights so that they can't hurt themselves inadvertently, we're making this stuff available to our customers. We're giving them hands-on tools. Your average end user can restore from previous versions in Explorer to your high-end users, administrators that we work with as part of our service offerings that do more advanced restorations. So it's very powerful. Now, Azure Site Recovery is similar, different in some respects in that it's not about data retention. It's about being able to replicate production workloads in the cloud with an appropriate fit in Azure. Being able to determine that appropriate fit, again, goes back to what's expected of us as a service provider to solve complex problems. What does appropriate fit mean? If anybody who's seen Azure, there's about 1 million virtual machines that you can work with. It's about right, isn't it? 1 million? All different shapes and sizes, different cores, different disk speeds, different types, different SLAs. What's a right fit? It's part of our job to solve that problem, to find that right fit, and we work with some key partners to do that, to assess your environment on that journey. Incredibly complementary working with Firefly. Again, Firefly does a couple of things here. It helps with the burst capability, because again, there's large volumes of data that needs to seed in order to establish these services. But we can create DR links that are passive. So the extreme example that James talked about was having a passive data center or secondary data center and the costs associated with that. I used to work with Direct Line Group, and I know what they spent on that. It's like tens of millions of dollars on something that was barely used. Some services were active-active, right? So there was some value there, but most were active-passive. So you've got these wasted, depreciating assets in data centers that are gathering dust that are doing nothing for you. What a waste of money. So what we love about site recovery is that we can replicate workloads into Azure and they remain passive and you don't pay for them until you use them. Again, flexible consumption. That's what Azure's all about. Pay for what you use. Being able to logically extend your network into Azure as well. So having a fast, non-contended network and being able to turn on, you saw how quickly Lewis could turn on the connectivity into Azure. In the event of a DR event, be it simulated or real, you need the confidence that you can run your production workloads in the cloud and have them be responsive and work for you as you expect, which is why we've invested so much in our network. But I guess the best, almost less obvious advantage of working with Azure Site Recovery we've seen, and it goes to perception again and comfort levels, and sort of demystifying what's possible with the cloud. This is a cloud migration capability. When you run a DR test, you are proving, or we are proving to our customers that their entire business can run out of Azure. And it's a light bulb moment. It really is. Now, all of a sudden, our customers say to us, okay, interesting, that just worked. You know, What's stopping me running my entire business out of Azure? Really? Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes when you sort of you look at the cost of running full production workloads in Azure, it appears confronting, because it's a number that's in your face immediately, right? And unlike probably some of the engineers in our business, you're not normally walking around with a single figure view of TCO for your entire business at a per VM basis. You just don't know. It's a bunch of invoices and costs that are spread out, and it's not always presented to you immediately in your face. So when you look at the number, you think, wow, that's high. It's actually not. When you consider the cost of depreciating kit and bleeding assets, and we've got customers who do this, sometimes, where they'll sweat an asset for as much as they possibly can, and they say to me, look, I've not invested on this in 5 years, and now you want me to spend this amount per month? Yeah, right, because on any given day, that asset that you've sweated could fall over. You could invest in a whole bunch of kit, again, a huge refresh, like it's the 90s again with Pearl Jam ringing in your ears, right? That's great, you could do that. Or you could rethink the way you do business. And it's fascinating for us watching customers realise that absolutely their workloads can run in the cloud, and Azure Site Recovery is a cloud migration tool.